Loka Shimu Kwara, and welcome to In Taiwan We Speak, your audio guide to Taiwan's mind-blowing linguistic diversity. I'm Alexander Shin, and today we continue our conversation with Eri Liao, an Atayal-Japanese singer. Please do check our first episode with Eri if you haven't yet. Now, Eri, your music blends both genres and languages, right? We've talked about this. Yeah. You mix Japanese, Atayal, and Mandarin in your art. Why is it important for you to keep all these elements alive in your music?
A lot of people ask me this question, but I just have to say it's just what's so natural to me, because I told you about how I was brought up in Taiwan. In our daily conversation, there are always Japanese and Mandarin, and it's always mixed in one sentence. So it just came so natural to me. And when I want to be really honest and true to myself, that's just has to come out in that form.
But I'm curious, of course, when you deal with the audience, right? I would imagine for proper targeting, you would choose a certain most marketable language, right? But you perform in all three in front of the audience, let's say in Japan or elsewhere. Now, how does audience take this?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And when I sing to them, some of the songs are in indigenous language. I sing some songs in Bunun and
you also sing in other indigenous languages?
Yeah, I have other languages too.
All right.
Some of their traditional songs. And I just realized in Japan, because, even if it's English, maybe people really listen to the words. But since it's music, they don't always pay attention to the meaning of the words. They enjoy the music itself. Right. And there's, huge world music scene in Japan. And there are a lot of people, they love to sing in Portuguese and they play Brazilian music, but they don't really understand the language. And even when we play rock tune, they don't know what exactly it means, but it's still somehow you feel it. But then I feel because people like it so much, and then it kind of worries me that they like it so much and they know nothing about the song or the culture, because it's something very important to Taiwanese people, and not only indigenous but whole Taiwan. So I feel I have to tell more about the music. Then now I'm really having a little lecture series in Japan. Yeah, I have all the presentation. I always try to sing a couple songs at the end of the lecture, educate people a little bit.
Enlighten people.
Yeah, enlighten.
Now, I've read that you also translated some of the jazz and specifically Bossa Nova compositions into your ancestral language, Atayal, right? So, the question naturally, can jazz or Bossa Nova be indigenous,
Yeah, I love this question. I think if I have something indigenous in me, and if I really express myself, then whatever that, it doesn't matter the genre, it's indigenous because it's performed by me, created by me. So, I think to answer your question, it can be indigenous. And I always remember when I sing jazz, when I was in New York, I was trying to have a lesson with this amazing singer, American singer. So I talked to her. And then she said, I don't usually give a lesson, but I can go see you perform and give you some feedback. So I said, okay, that sounds great. And then she actually said, but for that, you have to buy me a hamburger. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And then she came to my show and she heard me sing. And because my name is Eri, a lot of people think I'm 100% Japanese. It's a common Japanese name for a girl. So she thought by my name, she thought I'm a Japanese. And then after I sang, she came to me and she's like, oh, that was a great job and blah, blah, blah. And then she said, but I don't think you're Japanese. Are you really Japanese? And I was like, wow, it's so interesting because I didn't really introduce her or told her anything about my background. I just told her I'm a singer and I want to take a lesson with you. That's the only information she had. She doesn't do any Facebook or anything. And she came to my show. She was, I think at that time, like 70 something or around 80 years old. And she was like, "Where are you from? You're not Japanese." And I was like, wow. And I wasn't singing an indigenous song. I was singing a jazz standard in English with a typical jazz band. Piano, bass, drums, and a vocal, me. And I was singing like Moon River or, these like songs. It really struck me because it's really clear she was not talking about the pronunciation. She was talking about the way I express myself.
Right.
And I was like, wow, so people feel it. Like the music I play must be jazz because that's a jazz song performed in a traditional jazz style. And still there's something in me that she can recognize. So yeah, I think it can be indigenous if you're really expressing yourself.
So interesting. I also know that Brazilian music is quite popular in Japan, right?
Oh, yeah.
You did translate several tunes, Brazilian bossa nova, into Atayal. How was the job of translating it into Atayal? Like technicalities, share with us.
Sure. So this specific song is called "The Water of March." In Portuguese, I think it's called Águas de Março, but I don't think my pronunciation is good, but something like that. And this song, because like Brazilian music was so huge in America around the 80s or 70s or 80s, so many, especially bossa nova songs, were translated into English. And some songs, they have original English lyrics, and this one also have two versions, English and Portuguese. And it's both written by the composer. His name is Antonio Carlos Jobim. I am a big fan. But anyway, so he wrote this song in both English and Portuguese. That already shows that this song can be translated into another language. I just love this song. I always loved it. That was even before I started my career as a professional singer. I was just a music lover. I was listening to this song and suddenly I thought, I think I can sing this in Taiwan. It just popped up in my mind. The song is so simple. Back then I knew nothing about what I'm going to tell you, but traditional Taiwan songs, we only have 3 notes. Mi, so, la. Like all the songs, we only have these 3 notes. So it goes like mi, mi, so, mi, so, mi, mi, so, la, mi, so, la, mi. It goes like this all the way. And sometimes we also have this song, re, mi, so, la, mi, so, la, mi, re, mi, so, la, mi, re. It's just like this. So I know like our traditional ancestral songs are so boring. That's how I thought back then. But this Jobim song, The Waters of March, it's going to develop in the end, but it starts as mi, do, mi, do, mi, do, do, mi, do, do, mi, do, do. It's so simple, just these notes. And it's so beautiful. I mean, they have the whole orchestra in the background, so that makes this song beautiful too. But I think, like, now I think I can understand why I thought I could sing this song in Taiwan, because it's the simplicity is the word here. So the lyric, I was just singing the beginning of the song.
I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah, it's easier just when I sing. So it starts in English. It's a stick, a stone. It's the end of the road. So dun 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 dun, and I thought like a stick and a stone. I think I can sing this, but I wasn't really sure. So I had to call my mom. I just called my mom at that moment and asked her, "What is stone in Taiwan?" And she's like, "What's wrong with you? What happened?" I was like, "Just tell me."
Random word.
Yeah, like a stick, a stone, and she's like, "Carao." A stick is carao, and a stone is a butono. And I was like, okay, carao, butono. See, I can do this. And then because this song is so long, so when I really worked on this project, it took me very long to finish the translation. But at that point, I only did the first little phrase, a stick, a stone, it's the end of the road. I was just happy. I wasn't professional. I was so happy just I could sing my favorite song of my idol, musical idol in Taiwan, and that made me so happy. But this is how it started. Even after I started singing, it never came to my mind, but then I met this Japanese Brazilian musician in Japan. You know, they were so many Japanese immigrants in Brazil a long time ago. So I think he's a third generation Japanese Brazilian from Sao Paulo, but now he lives in Japan. And when I met him, I was like, oh, maybe finally I'm going to do this. So I just learned all the lyrics in English. I wanted to start from Portuguese, but it took me too long. So I was like, okay, forget the Portuguese, and I'll just work on like English. Well, now we're happy we have ChatGPT, so I just put it on ChatGPT. Then I realized these two versions are maybe 98% are direct translation because it's all the words: a stick, a stone, it's the end of the road, glass, the death, the sun. Like all these, the gun, the bird. So it's kind of like a dictionary. Like you have like all these words. That makes things a little bit easy because I can do word by word translation. But because the words were so many, it was difficult. And sometimes when the word is about this specific plant, we don't have in Taiwan, only in Brazil. And then I have to kind of think of like the roundabout way. Maybe we can talk about this plant in like our Atayal mountains.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a really Atayal. I'm pretty happy about my translation.
You had to localize it a little bit.
Yeah, localized version, exactly.
So, of course, I'm sure our listeners are going to want to hear part of it.
Sure.
By any chance?
Oh, of course. Tu no putoi ranak hen herang kunak pramatshaila mimbukan agarasu. Oh, what's the other words? I can't remember.
That's a demo version, dear listeners.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to release this album pretty soon.
We will talk about your album. Dear listeners, do join us next week as we continue our conversation with our guest. Thank you, Eri.
Thank you, Oleg.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I was Oleg, and this was In Taiwan We Speak.